Welcome to Missed Opportunities for Good, the podcast where we open up the space to have conversations about trends and campaigns at the intersection of marketing, advertising, and impact.
Hi, I'm Alana Ficalora.
Hey, I'm Steph Belsky.
We're social impact strategists, colleagues, and friends who are on a mission to revolutionize the industry we love.
Today, there's a lot of virtue signaling, greenwashing, cause washing, or companies saying nothing out of fear of getting it wrong.
Whether it's a moment or a movement, it still has to be real. It has to be authentic and aligned with the brand, not just performative. It's about the action being taken that goes along with the messaging.
So, we're here to highlight who's doing it well, what could be better, and how companies can stop leaving money and the potential for real social change on the table.
Our guest today on Creative Conversations is Becky Morrison. Becky, before we get into the big hello welcome with you, we would love to hear your why. Why do you do what you do without actually saying what you do?
Well, I can't help but say thank you so much for having me. And it's great to be here with you. My why. Okay. I love bringing a group of strangers together and turning them into a connected, high performance, creative, and technical team.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes. Any guesses what I do?
You could go in so many different directions. That's what's so fun about it.
Well, now we will actually share what it is that you do. So, Becky Morrison is an award winning producer and founder of The Light, a company defining what it means to create healthy production experiences. Her work spans hundreds of projects for clients like Netflix, Apple, and NBC, as well as the feature documentary Safe Sets, Dying to Work in the Film Industry, which exposes the systemic risks crews face behind the scenes. Drawing on years of research into Hollywood's history, she's developing a new model for high performance, conscious productions. Yes, yes, yes. More of this, please. Welcome, Becky. We're so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
There is so much to dig into.
Yes. All right. So, the first question that we asked all of our guests is what first drew you to doing impact work?
It's really interesting because actually, I don't think of the work I do as impact work necessarily, although I love that term. And since I've been listening to your podcast, I've been using it more.
Yes.
I tend to, yeah, really, it's a great word. I think of it more as social justice. I always have. I've been very involved in justice work for as long as I can remember. I come from a family of very progressive New York Jews. So my mom was taking me to pro-choice rallies as a kid. I come from a long lineage of radical leftists, I would say.
Amazing.
So for myself, I think that the first time that it really dawned on me the difference between the life that I was living and grew up in and the life that many of my friends did growing up in New York, I think I was probably around 15 or 16. I grew up in downtown Manhattan, and it was the 90s. So it was a time when like Supreme had just started and the kids movie came out. And a lot of those people were my friend group, a really diverse group of kids who were just hanging out on the street, skateboarding. And I thought of them all as my friends, like we were all equals. And then I just really started to see the difference between things like the way law enforcement treated me and treated my friends, the kind of situations that they were in with their families at home versus the one I was. And I remember being really charged and infuriated by a lot of the injustice that I saw. It just seemed so unfair, the things that I was seeing. And I think from that point on, I've really committed myself to writing injustice when I see it. And for me, I have such a love and a passion of production. I love, love, love production. So I look at a lot of the work I do as like production justice work.
Hell yes.
Bringing that lens into the world of production.
I love that.
Well, this is
production justice work. That's my takeaway. I think that's a new term that I'm going to use.
Say,
I love that so much.
This is right up Alana's alley. This is
like
perfect.
Yes to all. I'm like, why didn't I know this sooner before I was exiting out of primary day-to-day production world? Because I think it's so important. I feel like
it's why so many people leave, right?
100%.
To your point, it's like any systems, all systems in this country, were designed, and we can talk a little bit about that. But there's a historical precedent for how the system of production was designed, and it mirrors a lot of other systems in this country that we need to dismantle.
To the surprise of no one.
Exactly. Spoiler alert. So I think that there's a lot of attention on many other systems and not enough attention on the system of production and how can we make it more equitable and kind and caring, and how can we have it really support creativity?
Yeah. Instead, it's always been treated as this industry where if you don't want to take that role, somebody else will do it. If you won't do it for that rate, somebody else will always do it. And it's always just people undercutting each other. And it feels like a never-ending system where you just have to come in and do your job. And I mean, you can share so many more examples of like the actual deadly impact of this, and maybe we'll get into that later. But the way the system is set up is so broken, and the focus gets put on other pieces of it, right? And not on this piece that is actually probably be the most easy to fix if we all actually paid attention to it in some ways, which is kind of interesting. But
yeah. And Becky, just looking at your website, like you can see it's in your DNA, and it's in your company and what you've built. And I just love like the sustainability on sets and how like it's just in everything that you do, top to bottom. And it's really impressive to see that authenticity out of the gate in your branding and in all of your work. So really excited to jump into this a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks.
So we may have been given a little lens into this a bit, but is there an issue area or multiple areas that you're personally most passionate about?
I'm really passionate about designing production experiences and creating environments that center care and collaboration on set. I mean, that's my life's work. I feel like that's what I was born for. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I love doing. And in addition to that, I really do see there's not like a big difference for me between all the fights for justice. Like I remember it was like maybe a year ago, I was at like a march, an abortion rights march. And then we were at like an immigration rights march. And it was like, yeah, it's the same thing, a trans rights march. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm going to one of those today, actually. So it's like, for me, it's about equity for all people to be able to live free and self-actualized and realized. So all of those subjects for me, I am passionate about. I also am a spiritual person. And I would say for me, there's also not a difference between that. I really feel that there is an intersection of social justice and spirituality and all of these things. I really feel for me, it's all one. So those are all areas that I'm very passionate about.
Listen, you're talking to a Rebbitzin here, so you are in good company.
Nice.
So what is an impactful project you've worked on either recently or in the past, whatever you choose, that you are very proud of? I'm not going to say most proud of, because there's a lot of work that you've done that I'm sure you are very proud of. So choose whichever one you'd like to share with us in the audience.
I appreciate the lack, not the superlative. It's always hard where people are also like, "What's your favorite movie ever?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like I can't even. It's usually the last movie I saw because that's what I can remember. It's right. It's so hard. I could never be an actor on those press tours when they do those EPKs and they have have to come up with all these answers like that. I'm like, oh my gosh. Thank you for not making me choose my most favorite ever. I mean, I really love projects that are technically challenging and creatively meaningful and are large scale. So those are my favorite kind of projects. The impact projects I would say that are like resonant with me right now. One we just did 2 weeks ago at the Statue of Liberty. So that was in response to the Venezuelan men who had been illegally deported to CCOP prison in El Salvador by the Trump administration. So my cousin and collaborator Paula Mendoza is amazing, an amazing artist, activist, and came up with the idea of having people in the uniforms, the white uniforms that they wear at CCOT, and having them assemble in front of the Statue of Liberty for creative action.
Chills.
So yeah, it was very powerful. We had a singer, and then we had about 50 people lined up in front of the Statue of Liberty. We got an iconic photograph and then a video.
Amazing.
And I'm very proud of that. Soon after, one of the high-profile prisoners was sent back to the US, and just feeling like, okay, not saying that that was because of the video we made, but any kind of pressure and attention on these things is important. So being
100%.
able to use our technical and creative skills to, on the side of what's right, that I'm proud of. And the video, like in a week, had over 1 million views.
Incredible.
So that's
amazing.
Great. And another impact project I would say is the film Safe Sets, which you spoke about, Steph, which I have to do the hard T at the end, Safe Sets. So we know what we're talking about. So
it's like when I used to work for a nonprofit called Right Girl, and I always had to say, they're like, why would I want to help white girl? And I'm like, no, it's right girl. So safe sets. Tell
our enunciation matters.
This is where my important comes in.
The hard T.
Just follow you around saying safe sets.
Safe sets. Safe sets.
Tell us.
Red leather, yellow
Tell
leather.
us about Safe Sets.
So good.
Yes. So Safe Sets is a film that I got involved with, which is a stunning masterpiece made by a physician from Harvard who is a public health specialist. He started to do, cast visits. So visits if somebody above the line, which is a term I don't personally use, but if somebody was on set who was sick, or he'd do like cast insurance visits, and he started coming to set. And he realized that there's a lot of like public health issues that we're facing as people working behind the scenes. And he made a documentary comprehensively addressing all of them. And even though it sounds like it's hard to explain it without it sounding like a downer, it's actually a film with so much hope and positivity about, first of all, like why I'm so excited about the project. It's the first time I've ever seen all these issues outlined in one place. Wow. They're anecdotes we've heard over time. Like we may have heard what happened to Sarah Jones on the train tracks of Midnight Rider, or heard what happened to Helena Hutchins on the set of Rust, or heard about, these certain anecdotal things that have happened. But when you see them all brought together, it really reveals the systemic nature of the things that we're facing behind the scenes. And so it addresses safety issues with stunts, toxic chemical exposure, addiction, sleep deprivation, power abuse, which includes systemic racism and also sexism and sexual harassment on set, and really puts them all in the lens of safety issues. So that is a film that is absolutely an impact project that I'm very excited to be a part of in getting the message out.
Incredible.
And so tied to what you were already doing in the way you're creating your environments on set.
Absolutely.
It's not like being involved in this project is what affected you to do that with your company already. You were already doing that. So it's like you're a natural partner to be working on a project like this.
Exactly.
Where you already have that situational awareness to know that the system has problems and being able to bring light to it in a different way.
Exactly. That's why when I'd seen the trailer for the film and I was like, oh my gosh, like I would have made this film. Like this is a film, like I'm so excited this exists. And I think for Paul, the collaboration is good too, because I'm somebody who's been working for years on like, well, what is the solution? What do we do about this?
Yeah.
And he's looking at it from a health perspective.
Yeah.
So, and I'm looking at it from a production solution perspective. So it is really nice to also have this calling card to be able to have conversations. We're having very high level conversations with people in Hollywood now as a result of the film. The film being like something that breaks open the conversation so that we can convene and talk about, okay, well, what are we going to do about this?
Yeah.
Wow.
So important.
Oh, I love this.
So very, very important.
And wait, and it's out now? We can see it, or
It's not out now. We're seeking distribution. So right now it's available with educational distribution, and we're seeking distribution. So it will hopefully be out soon and available widely for people to see.
Fantastic.
Currently, you can see the trailer, and there's more materials on the website.
Great. Well, we will certainly link the trailer in the show notes.
Yes.
Thanks.
And also so important to be able to provide resources collectively in one place, and always having that piece of an impact campaign to go along with a film of such importance like this. So I love that you're approaching it and already having conversations with it without it even being out yet, which is also so important as the industry is reeling from so many other effects, to be able to, if we're going to build back, let's build back better, right? So so great to see. What would you say is the biggest or one of the challenges you're facing right now in the work that you're doing? Yeah, no, have to pick the most.
No superlative.
Yeah, the most.
A challenge.
I got the
of
biggest
any kind.
problems. I got the most problems. The best problems.
All the problems. I mean, these days there's a problem on every corner we turn. So, what's a challenge that you're excited to tackle now? Maybe I don't know.
Challenge.
Oh my gosh.
So many directions it could go.
Challenges. Okay, I won't even talk about the world at large. You're talking about me and my business. Let's talk about the business.
There you go.
Yeah, I would say the biggest challenge is market saturation. And what I mean by that, so I've been doing this a long time. I started as a PA. I was a production coordinator. I worked on lots of, big union commercials back when we used to have tons of money. I was chartering private planes to go on tech scouts.
Yep.
Not sustainable, but definitely a lot of fun. Those were the days.
I
think when I started my career, there were so many fewer production companies. When I started my career, we were shooting on film. Okay. So that's first of all. And then there were there were way fewer production companies. There were way fewer directors. Yep. And of course that wasn't great because they were a homogenous group of gentlemen.
You don't say.
Over time, I think what's happened is that there's so many production companies now, especially boutique or smaller production companies. And there's so many directors, which in a way is wonderful because it creates opportunities for people. We have diverse viewpoints. It also, as a business owner, it just means that the pool of work that exists has been shrinking and changing and evolving, that's a whole other conversation, what's been happening to that work.
Totally.
And now there's so many more people going after the jobs. It feels like the market is so saturated. So I would say that is a challenge. So how do you stand out in a market that's so saturated and so competitive? I think that, agency producers are receiving, 150 reels per project. How many are they even looking at? So for your, to be looking for your director to cut through, to be able to be considered, to be shortlisted, let alone triple bid. And then for the honor of triple bidding, you can outlay several $1,000s on your treatment, on your bidding producer, and then you lose the job. You're like, thank you for letting me spend $6,000 to lose that job. So I think that the competitiveness is a challenge.
Yeah.
Except,
it's another system that could be.
Gosh.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, how you're differentiating yourself very much in this market is through sustainability and through really making, one of the things that I think about is how you treat your people on set and how they have an experience that is probably unlike majority of productions. Yeah. And so that's what makes you stand out. And that's what lets you create the work that you do and bring in the folks and attract the partners that you get is because of who you are at your core essence and that just radiates throughout your productions. So well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. And it's nice to be, to kind of blast the bat signal in the sky for those
Yeah.
people and clients and agencies who are out there looking to work in that
Right.
way, because we
Yeah.
are out there and we
Yep.
need to find
Yeah.
each other, because
Yep.
it's not just like a froofy thing that we should treat each other kindly, like
No.
kumbaya. It's like the way we work impacts the
Yes.
work.
Mhm.
And
100%.
we work in a creative industry, which has never made sense to me why, when what we want in our industry is we want to win awards. We love awards. Everyone's at Cannes winning awards, at AICP, everyone awards. People love making money. They love all of that. And in order to do that, you need to be creative and have maximum creativity.
Yes.
We're always proliferating our creative, right? Our creativity. And yet we're using a production model which is inherently extractive of people's creativity and their
Yep.
Life force.
Yes.
It makes literally no sense. The production model that we use was designed based on the military and the factory system. Like
Yeah.
quite literally in the 1910s, they looked around and said, "Ah, yes, World War I. Let's design Hollywood to be like the military." "Ah, yes, Henry Ford's assembly line. Let's make Hollywood like an assembly line." And they were like, "Military assembly line, Hollywood." And they created production.
Not wrong.
And it was like these 5 guys with cigars and top hats, and they're like, "We did it. We did it." And they made like black and white movies with no sound. That was like a train coming at the screen, and everyone's like, "Ah!" And for some reason, I cannot understand for the life of me, for 100 years, ladies and gentlemen out there
More
listening,
than, yeah.
more than 100
Yeah.
years, we have not changed that system.
Yeah.
The technology of filmmaking itself has completely evolved. They couldn't in their wildest dreams have imagined AI or even drones or whatever,
Any of that,
360
yeah.
cameras. But we're still like, a gaffer is called a gaffer because they used to move lights with a hook that they called a gaff. Like we gotta, like,
It's
we
time.
haven't changed this. It's time, y'all. It's time. So I'm passionate about what I like to call production innovation. Let's innovate production. Let's just ask ourselves, like, hey, does this have to be done this
Yes.
way? Or is this a holdover from another time? I remember when
Yeah.
when I was in the office doing pre-pro book, we were frantically like printing and hole punching the pre-pro books with putting the tabs down in the office.
You
Like,
tell
the
my
agency's
PTSD.
coming.
I'm like, yeah. Oh my God, that one page
agency's
needs to be
coming.
changed. Did you change it in all of them? Like,
Ripping out the binders, right? It was
Frantic,
crazy.
frantic.
No one, these were not the good old days. But anyway, that's how. And then when I saw pre-pro books move into the digital form, they looked
Yeah.
exactly like they did when we printed them.
Yeah.
It was like, you guys, we're not printing them anymore. Can it look different? Like, what if
What if it
why
actually
don't we
matched
just-
the format of a computer for a presentation?
Yeah,
Like, even-
exactly.
Like anything, just like the slides that actually fit the direction of the screen. Basic.
Exactly. Our call sheet is still like, can the call
Totally.
sheet look different? What can we do
Yeah.
differently
Right.
on set? And
Yeah.
in the spirit of innovation, in the spirit of creativity, in the spirit of like having people be more engaged and productive, because we are living in a very different time. And I just think there's a lot we leave on the table as an industry. Because when
Yeah.
you go to set, sorry, I'm going off.
Go
now.
off.
No, I love all of
Hyped
this.
up,
This is
hyped up.
important shit. Let's go.
Hyped up. So like when you go to set, if you walked around set with like a microphone and like a BTS camera and you asked the crew members, like, what are you working on? 90% of them would not be able to tell you what they were
Right.
working on, really. Maybe the director, obviously, the DP probably,
Hopefully.
maybe the production designer, like nobody else. They're like, I don't know, a commercial for this. Like, they don't know what the creative is. They don't know how the creative fits into the strategy.
Yeah.
They don't understand any of that. And the truth is that they want to. It's not that they don't want to. It's that nobody tells them. And when we don't communicate with the crew and the people who are on set, at the very least, about what we're doing, we are leaving so much productivity on the table. We're leaving so much creativity on the table. We're leaving so much engagement on the table. And it's not, I'm not just saying that in terms of like, we could get more for them for less, but it's more like they want to be engaged.
Right, yeah.
Like crew members, like you don't get into this
They're not
business
just-
because it's smart.
Yeah.
Like you get into this business because you're passionate about being a part of something
Yeah.
bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we're able to connect people to that, the creative skyrockets, and that doesn't
Yeah.
cost any more. So to
Yeah.
me, it's like we have to change the way that we work, because we're also just we're losing talented
Yeah.
people like you, Alana. So many people flee the industry. The industry's leaving the country. It's leaving
Yeah.
LA. There's so many things, like we really
Yeah.
need to just improve the way that
Yeah.
we work.
Well, and with the technology advancements, our timelines, I mean, another reason why I left was the timelines were getting shorter, the budgets were getting cut. There was no room for creativity anymore. It really became this experience that it was like, well, how much can you do for how
Right.
little in less time? And it was like very much like a time card punch sort of situation. Directors would try to add their own spin to it, and the creatives were like, no, just do what we said. And you're like, well, then why are we here?
Right.
Let's make something different. Let's elevate this. Let's not wallpaper paste it all down. Let's be innovative. Let's challenge the norms. Let's do something different. And it seemed like it had lost. I mean, I know not everywhere, but a lot of that creativity has been lost. What would you say if somebody's listening and is like, fuck yeah, this all resonates with me. How can I do better? What are like 3 tips you would give to somebody how they could change this experience for themselves in the way that they show up with their teams or within their realm of possibility?
I would say, I'd say the overarching tip is really to center the crew's experience. Center everyone who's on set, their experience. But I think that we naturally do that with the agency and the client. We're very much thinking about the experience that the people in Video Village are having. Like, do they have enough lattes? Are they comfortable? Like, how are they doing? And so we're already oriented around that, expanding that to everyone on set. And I think that's a big thing on our sets, is like, we're oriented around the experience that everyone has. So that means that we have a questionnaire, we get snack requests and dietary restrictions from everyone. I know that many people do dietary restrictions now, but also like snack requests.
Yeah.
Like if the third
That's so
electric
cute.
wants Swedish fish, you know how simple that is? And like,
Yeah, totally.
to just have
we ask
that
the
at
client in
Crafty.
agency, why not ask the client?
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I think if we're living inside of a framework where we're there, if it's our responsibility to deliver a good white glove experience to everyone who's on set, talent, client, agency, crew, then we start to make different decisions inside of that. So that's the overarching framework, I would say. And then inside of that is where we get to be playful, we get to be creative. You know, one thing that we do at The Light is we take a percentage of our profits at the end of every year and we distribute it back to every single crew member that worked with us throughout the year.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm not saying everyone has to do that, but that was something that came to me out of thinking about how can I like thank the crew. So
instead of 1% for the planet, 1% for the people, or whatever the percentage is. I love that. Especially in a world where everybody is freelance, what a gift. Like those crew members will think about coming to work for you in a different way than they will for any other company. And then you're attracting the top talent. It's like an employee retention strategy in a place where no one ever thinks about the employees and everyone thinks about themselves is so indispensable. You know, people will want to make themselves even more indispensable to you because you're actually caring about them.
Yes.
It's so simple.
It's also like how
and that's not the motivation, but that is a great side effect.
But it's just like a great side effect in the sense that like, but making people feel valued, right? I mean, it's the same thing in terms of having the snack. It all kind of comes back to the individual value. And as a freelancer, sometimes you don't feel connected to any of these companies that you work for. That's why that random grip doesn't pay attention to what job he's on, because he's going to be on a different one tomorrow. So what's the difference anyways? But if he knows that he's actually being cared for here or there, or she knows they're being cared for here or there, they're going to have that much more interest in participating as well, because what a more positive experience in terms of where you're going to work.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think another thing to do on set is really, I see the safety meeting as like such an underutilized mechanism. It's really nice. I consider myself an architect of production experiences.
I love this so much.
So I think like the same way when you go on a ride at Disneyland, there is an architecture to that experience. They designed that. Actually, those have like an act 1, act 2, and act 3. You don't realize it. It's like you're in line and then you're on the ride. And then it's like, it's the reason why every time someone gets off a ride, they feel a certain emotional state. That's an architect of experience designed that. And I think set is the same way, that we can be lazy and just replicate what we've been taught, or we can consciously design it so that people leave set feeling better than when they arrived. And like when we just put a little bit of attention towards it, it's reliable every single time, no matter what happens. And I'm telling you, I have productions where crazy things have happened, like all the things that happen in production, but it doesn't matter. People leave feeling better than when they arrived because of the tone we set. And I think that's what I started to say about the safety meeting, is an opportunity to bring everyone in, to connect them tonally, to connect them to each other, and to also tell them what the project is.
What a novel concept.
Make it so that if there was an EPK crew going around interviewing your crew, 100% of them would understand what they were working on. Yeah, and setting a tone. You know, my dad is a Hindu monk, and so he lives in India.
That's awesome.
I'm half monk, I like to say. Apparently that's not acceptable, but I'm not actually part of the tribe. But anyway,
different tribes.
You can't be half monk. I think it's one of those things you go all in on.
I have so many more questions about
My
this,
DNA
but that'll take us in a whole other direction. I love this.
monk.
That's awesome.
So, oh my gosh, you should have him on the pod, Swamiji. So another thing is, like, I just take a moment of silence, like just to connect people. Say, hey, we're just gonna land here together.
Take a breath.
Let's take a breath.
Incredible.
1 breath, 3 breaths. It does something to the alchemy of the space. So,
and to your
these
nervous
are just
system.
Small examples. To your exactly.
Like, you don't want somebody on your set that's all bleh. You want them to be.
We've all seen that.
Sure.
We've all
been. You want them to be as centered as you possibly can, and then they can bleh, but at least they start with being grounded and feeling listened to, feeling heard, feeling like in this experience with you.
Invested.
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic, Becky. Really.
Yeah. Oh, I have one other suggestion now you asked. That's such a good question. I also really feel like it's a good idea to lean into any conflict that you see. So I believe that, I really believe that when things are going wrong on set, if you have a crisis, what that tells me immediately is something is off in the interpersonal dynamics of the group.
Yeah.
Because if there's harmony with the people, you're never going to have a crisis. You're going to have an obstacle or a challenge or things that you have to face and get over. But if something is blowing up on the set that's really bad, I don't even look at the thing. I mean, this doesn't happen on our sets, but hypothetically, like, I wouldn't even look at the thing.
I love this.
It's true. But I wouldn't even look at the thing itself. I'd look at the people. Because when something's off with the people, that's when you have those problems. And I have had experiences on set where there's conflict between people. It's natural. You're in a high stress environment. People are exhausted. There's a lot of interdepartmental antagonism naturally built into the system. And I think anytime that you see that there's a tension there, to lean into it, to just be curious and in your heart and just let people express. Very often I just go and I let people vomit all of their feelings into my field, and I just don't say anything. And they feel so much better afterwards.
Yeah.
Because they just needed to get it out. I had this production where the coordinator, I don't even remember what happened exactly. It had something to do with the parking space, I think. And the coordinator upset the craft service person. And the craft service person was so angry she was going to walk off the job.
Oh my goodness.
The coordinator came to me hysterical, and he was like, I think the craft service person's going to quit. Like, I don't know what happened. She came back from a run and we didn't have her spot. I know he was freaking out. And so I was like, don't worry, I'll go talk to her. So she was steaming, walking back and forth behind the craft service table. And I was like, hey, what happened? And so she starts offloading, telling me what happened. And I was like, I'm so sorry that happened. I'm sorry on behalf of production. We should not have done that. We were wrong. I take responsibility for that. You should have had that spot. I apologize. And she just was going. And then he said this and then said this. And I was like, yes, I hear you. You're right. You're right. And just let her get it all out. And then at the end, she just like perked up and she was like, thanks. Gave me a hug. And then decided to do a walk around with some like really delicious snack that she hadn't planned on doing. And it was like all that she needed was to be heard.
Yeah.
She was upset and she needed to be heard. And I think sometimes people on set, there's a lot going on and they just need to be heard. And so leaning into those moments and just shutting our mouth and just letting people be heard can diffuse so much of what is later going to become a crisis on your set.
Not only in production, like in life.
Right.
Like,
that's true.
You validated her and also comforted your coordinator and like that's part of the gig, right? But it's part of being a strong leader, first of all.
Yeah.
And it's so commendable that you took the time, right? You didn't just say like, oh, get over it. Like, can we move on? Right? You didn't get your part.
I had to. I wouldn't have had a craft service person.
You got to be able to feed people. It's important.
That's a priority.
I understand. I'm just saying.
Get those craft service requests for nothing.
I'm just saying that not many people would take the time to be a garbage truck, to just take it all in and listen and say, I hear you. You're right. I'm taking full responsibility. And that is, again, what makes you stand out in this crowded market. Truly.
Thank you.
Truly.
Thank you. I really don't think it's like, it's
just being a good person, which is unfortunate.
Right.
It shouldn't be that hard.
Training. I think a lot of people don't have training and producers are overwhelmed and all these things. And it's like, I understand why we don't do that normally, but I'm just hoping to bring attention to the fact that like, if we start to think in these ways, it actually ultimately makes the production better, which is what the producer wants. The producer's furiously typing, I don't have time to talk to the craft service person because I'm doing this. But in the end, 5 minutes with the craft service person is going to help the overall production. And to look at the people, dynamics on set. I think it's crazy to me that we have so many people on set and there's nobody whose role it is to pay attention to those interpersonal dynamics. It's bizarre. Like
people who maybe never worked together before and they come together for this.
Together before.
Like sometimes it's here or there. There's tiny groups of people or pockets of people, but full departments who have never even seen people, don't know their names, have to suddenly collaborate, and you expect it all to be perfectly smooth for the 12-hour shoot day you might have, and then tomorrow they're going to work with completely different people, and it's kind of the magic of production in so many ways, because we can make that happen, but simultaneously it is fascinating that no one's paying attention to those dynamics, because there probably is so much that can be improved even there so that people can collaborate on an even deeper level and up-level their creativity and up-level their skill set and the experience for everybody all around.
Exactly, Alana. Exactly that. Because every production's a snowflake.
Right.
Like even if you have people who've worked together before, you don't have everybody. And the quicker that we can get people to be connected, to know each other's names, to know what's going on, to be all of that, the better it's going to be for the project. The faster people will work. And the more creative, the more problem solving. It's what's better for the project. And it is really surprising that we just don't pay any attention to it at all.
Well, I know we could go on and on and on, but before we jump into the campaign that you've brought us, let's quickly review our criteria for our listeners. So the first thing we always look at is alignment.
Next is partnerships.
Call to action and transparency.
Engagement.
Lastly, optimization and amplification.
So on that note, Becky, if you can please tell us about the campaign. Well, in this case, I think we're going to be parallel talking about two campaigns with the same brand that you brought today. And if you can give a quick creative summary of maybe the primary and then the secondary, or both simultaneously, however you kind of want to present it. But we'll link to show in the show notes, but also just so anyone who hasn't seen them top of mind can understand what we're talking about.
Okay.
And then we'll get into like the actualization.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So there's 2 campaigns by Lego. One is called Ready for Girls, and it is a very, what's the right word? Lyrical kind of lifestyle look at girls in different environments. And the copy is about like, how do we get girls ready for the world? And then at the end, the twist is like, we get the world ready for girls. Like, we don't need to get girls ready for the world. They've been ready. Yeah. We need to get the world ready for them. And then the second campaign is called She Built That, which is a music video remix of a Run DMC song. And it is a lot of girls and tweens and all sorts of people dancing and rapping and being Gen Alpha and Gen Z in this video.
As Legos?
About building. They're humans. They're human
right.
beings. The Run DMC are
right,
Legos, actually.
Right.
Yeah, Run DMC are Legos. And then they're human beings dancing, talking about how girls can build things too. That's the top line.
Yep.
Tell me how we get into it now.
Yeah, let's get into it. They have such a different approach for the same audience, as I know you flagged to us earlier, and it's so fascinating because on the first top level, look, when I first watched it's like the Run DMC remix one, I was like, this is fun. But then when you really look at the messaging behind it, and I will just say that I also initially was looking at their site. This is just one gripe that I'm just going to throw in off the bat that kind of annoyed me. And maybe this is where you were going to go with this. But they're like, look at all these resources. And then they're talking about how girls can do all these things and they can build. And like, the stats that are referenced are all about how people think of boys as building before girls and this and that, whatever. And everything is like, build a flower,
right?
Build a unicorn,
right?
Build a like whatever. Throw in your other typically girl thing is what you can build, not like leading with the spaceship or the dinosaur or the anything else that would generally. I don't know. Anyways, that was like the first thing that I saw that I was just like, what the hell? Anyhow, but we can chat through it from the top, really. So first, I guess, would be curious to hear your take on the differences in tonality and which one you liked more than the other and where you thought had the better approach to this conversation.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. Just the campaign in general, it's just interesting to look at Lego where you're like, okay, clearly there's a market sector that is available to be tapped for you, which is girls. Like when you think about Legos historically, I think that clearly there's something that's associated more with boys, and Lego, I'm sure internally and strategically was like, we need girls to be into Legos too. It's a huge market. Right. And so they've been doing a lot of work in the impact space and then also in terms of their campaigns to get at that market. And so there's also videos that we didn't mention that they're doing in that space as well. So, and I'm sure they're all over the map. I don't know. I don't like to also criticize anybody. I have no idea what was happening inside of anybody's minds. All I know is that I just saw these 2 spots as a consumer from the outside. And I felt that, and as a woman, I felt that the Run DMC version, it gave me the ick. It just made me cringe. Yeah. It felt like, I'm from New York in the 90s, right? We talked about that before. Yeah. It's like when somebody is like, what's that good way of putting it? If somebody's like, I'm from New York, and they're wearing like a Brooklyn sweatshirt, and they're like wearing a backwards hat, and you're like, wait, something smell. Where are you from, Queens? Because I don't know, something's not right. Like you're just like someone's pretending to be like there's someone from New York. You can tell if you're from New York. You're like, nah, you're not it. Yeah, and I felt like that video was like totally trying to. It was that. It was like for when people rap in this way that's like, anyway, you get what I'm saying, right? Yeah. It just felt cringe where I was like somebody's trying to
piggyback culture, not create
Yes.
culture. Like it's
Exactly. It did not authentic. It didn't nail it. It felt like they just went into a casting room too. And they were like, let's cast every single type of person and put them in this. And they're breakdancing, like not well, no critique about these poor girls. It just all felt very like staged and commercial and like put on. And like, I'm supposed to watch this and be like, oh yeah, I'm a girl. Like, it just didn't connect. Obviously, I realized it as a 45-year-old woman, I'm not the market sector, but still, like, I didn't resonate with that. And it just gave me icky feelings. The other one, on the other hand, I felt like was much more, it just felt more real and authentic. And it's stylistically very different. When I first started watching it, it was like, how do we get girls ready for the world? And I was like, oh boy, here goes. How do we get girls ready for the world? And then it was like, we don't. Right. We get the world ready for, and I was like, yes, thank you. Exactly. Like, we don't need, girls are here. Girls have been doing stuff. Girls have been inventing and building for millennia. Yeah. It's not about girls needing to improve themselves. It's about the world needing to realize that we're here and doing this already. Yeah. So that to me landed as much more authentic and much more empowering, actually, than whatever the kind of characterization was she built that.
Yeah. I feel that.
Well, and it's interesting because that campaign was from 3 years ago, and it was for International Day of the Girl. And I wonder if, do we know when the campaign?
Which one are you talking about? Oh,
sorry, the Get the World Ready for Girls. Yeah.
The other one, Steph, that she built, that just came out a couple weeks ago.
Oh, great. Got it. Cool.
It's freshy.
So they've gone backwards, is what we're saying.
Yeah, they're regressing.
Yeah. Well, because remember last year it was the one with the soccer players?
Yes.
I think it was last year or 2 years ago. There was one that they did with female athletes. And it's interesting to see how the tonality of something like that can change year over year. Look, they're to your point, they see this market opportunity, right, Becky? And they're aligned in that they are continuing to try to speak to young girls. But it's interesting to see in which ways their strategy is approaching that year over year. What's driving that shift, and how is that really reframing the narrative? And the more I was thinking about it too, and that she built that, like, yes, there's all these other ways you can think of building in terms of building a company or building your song or whatever they're trying to reference as the other, like, building. But ultimately, also what they're trying to shift, it seemed like, in their stereotypes is literal building also as being just as much for girls as for boys, which seems like there's less of an emphasis on that part, especially in the breaking the stereotype piece, which that piece of the alignment I feel like also gets a little lost in terms of their messaging, other than it's like a fun jammy jam that clearly I'm an imposter because I'm like, I don't know. I was just like, I remember this song. I'm like, I'm from LA, whatever. I don't know these differences. Cool.
I don't know. I'm also not like a 9-year-old girl. Maybe this is a banger. They love this. I don't know. We're all like talking about it. It just felt like it was made by people in a boardroom to me.
No, 100%. And it's internal agency. It's internal agency. So like, the creative approach is different, and be curious to see how the other ones were. I mean, it's funny. I never actually asked my brother what he thought. My brother's family is very hardcore Lego. Like, they go to Legoland all the time. Both my almost 9-year-old niece and my almost 7-year-old nephew are like very into Lego. And I sent it to them being like, oh, my brother will appreciate the old schoolness of this, but like, the kids, especially my niece, might be into like, the literal Lego piece of it. And I sent it to them, but never responded. So I'm like very curious to see like the target audience. What do they think? Yeah. Because it is interesting. I think it's interesting to see what they're trying to do offline to go with this. And it really just crushed me to see that the workshops to get girls engaged was literally the first one on the website is beautiful botanicals. And yes, my sister-in-law does have one of those in her office. I will not lie. I tell you that she did not buy that at Legoland and build it. However, girls can build more than flowers.
Yeah, totally.
So let's lead with something a little stronger to upend the stereotype, if that's where we're going to go with this. You know, oh boy, where did I just lose that? I guess they did partner with these influencers. and things like that stuff. Do you have any? I know you're always our
I
talent
know. I'm trying to scout it out.
spokesperson on all the things.
Trying to scout it out. I mean, like you can tell that either I'm not gonna lie, I did not recognize the talent. I'm sure your niece would recognize the talent, but
maybe
I don't
not.
know. The like whole selfie video dancing, I think like, oh, okay, that's obviously an influencer of some kind. And and it did show people, women using different Legos and things like that. So I can imagine that those are creators that specifically focus on working with Legos, and like they're Lego maniacs. Yeah, I not gonna lie, did not do the research to figure out who these creators are, but I'm sure we could sleuth them out. Yeah. Oh, there it is. DJ Olivia.
They're in the credits.
Right.
Yeah.
A British drummer.
They call out in their press release, the DJ and the drummer, and how they both got into their crafts at age 5. Children prodigies that they are.
Yes.
But the correlation even between that and Lego, I'm still a little confused on personally. But hey, I mean, I guess you're bridging audiences.
They're trying to. I mean, they're just trying to leverage audiences. Period. That's it. Like, oh, okay, so here's this Chinese alternative pop artist and a dance duo. Great. Like they are technically building things as well. They're building their audiences on their platforms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So that Lego can take advantage and get in front of them.
I was going to say they're buying views.
That's exactly what they're doing. It's not rocket science, but hopefully these are great role models for young girls, and at the very least, we know that they are watching those other channels. Yeah, let's see. I don't know if there's...
It's fascinating to create a global spot too like this, in the sense that it's not solely a US-based spot. It's definitely for a global audience, because their cast is from across the world. And so they're tying into influencers or is there a word for kid influencers? I don't know. Across the world too, which is kind of fascinating. Yeah. And it was interesting to see, or not be able to see, I should say, find Becky who directed it as well.
Yeah.
I think I have
I was impressed
theory.
you found the
I have a theory. Okay. I think one was Daniel Iglesias Jr. I have a photo of him here. His credits, that was, which Lego one was that? Rebuild the World. This was his IMDb one.
Oh, yeah, that was like the one that was like the warm fuzzy one. Yeah.
Yes, I feel like that was the warm fuzzy one. I think. If you're out there listening, Daniel Iglesias Jr., and you directed that spot, let us know so that we
inquiring minds would like
to sing your praises. Yes. You're not a girl. It doesn't look like, but shout out to you no less. And then the other one, I feel like might have been directed by the director Child. Do you know who that is? It's like they're like undercover duo. It's like they don't show their face. They're a music video director. And I think it's them, because I did find the production company that made it, which I won't try to pronounce because it's like a name that starts with a Z that I can't pronounce. So it's I think a European, European production company. And in the credits, I compared the credits of the video to the roster of this production company. And that was a crossover. This director Child.
That's incredible.
So they were like, thank you to everyone who made it possible. And somewhere on the list was this director who was at this production company. So I feel like it was probably her. That's my guess. But it was not on the production company's website. It was not on Daniel Iglesias Jr.'s production company's website either. Neither one of them was proud enough of their Lego work to put it on their website.
Interesting.
I also have not, I myself have not always keeping my website up to date, but no one seemed to be proud and owning either of these spots, to be honest. So,
which is also just so fascinating. So always think it's interesting when there is a female empowerment for sort of spot that does not have a female director, when there's so many fewer projects given to women directors anyways, And then when you blatantly are speaking to that audience and don't hire a female director, don't hire a female DP, sounds like maybe they did this time, so at least they got that right. But that always blows my mind. And also, women shouldn't only do those spots. They should also get to do the boy version of the Lego spot. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Because they should speak to all audiences. But at the very least, you're not going to give that to a woman. Hello. So
all the women were busy directing spots about flowers.
Yeah. Or tampons. Who knows? Verdict's still out. Great. Call to action and transparency. Mine is not being transparent about the director.
Yeah, there you go.
It does seem like otherwise they're
transparently
transparent
they want you to buy their Legos.
That's for sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm not like an expert on Lego's impact initiatives, but it does seem like they are partnering with people like Save the Children and the Gina Davis Institute to kind of eliminate gender bias.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're doing something with their corporate social responsibility. So, you know,
Lego, impact-wise, as a brand in general, Lego does a ton of incredible things, and they're a huge partner for FIRST, and they do amazing work in the STEM areas. And they build, all their kits that they do for hospitals, like, different stories about, oh God, I'm forgetting the exact initiative, but I want to say they had like little Lego sets of like the machine you go in for radiation or something like that. But to kind of demystify those sorts of experiences for kids in the hospital with chronic illness. Cool. So they do have a lot of very cool initiatives. And it is because of the STEM piece of it, it is such an opportunity for them to focus on girls and grow that. Girls in STEM, there's so many organizations to be partnering with there that it's interesting that in approaching these sorts of projects that they don't have direct partnerships, I think, with some of those organizations. And maybe that's a missed opportunity. They do have offline components of workshops that you could do in person at some of the stores, those online workshops. There's some new game they're launching. So they have some other elements to this campaign, but I think it would have been a nice opportunity for them to really engage some of those nonprofit partners.
Right.
Too.
And of course, like in a time when we're hearing that some companies, as we know, not majority of Fortune 500s, but companies are pulling back on their DE&I messaging. Now Lego is saying like, oh, maybe women isn't a bad word. Maybe diversity isn't a bad thing. And here we are trying to create more equity, even if it's just for girls to build flowers, at least they're building something. So it's, but yes, missed opportunity not to bring in some of those awesome nonprofit partners that are helping with the confidence gap. Agreed.
And there's part 2. There's another phase to the campaign happening later this year. So we'll stay tuned and see. Maybe they already have something planned that we just don't know.
Lego, call me. Yeah. Call me, Lego.
I was going to say, please call Becky. Why aren't you calling Becky?
Daniel Iglesias Jr. or Lego, if you're out there listening.
Missed connections.
Yes.
Missed connections on Craigslist.
Okay, so, Becky, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast, and thank you everyone for listening.
Of course.
Yes, such a pleasure to have you on and share your story and the incredible work you're doing. It's so important for us to all learn from you and how we can have more creative, more equitable, more enjoyable sets for all of us to work on, and production justice. There's so many takeaways here. I can't even. I wrote so many things down, but even just the idea of like architecture, production design. There's so many things. Yeah. So thank you. This has been such a joy. Where can we send people to learn more about you and your work?
Oh, you can send them to thebeckymorrison.com. That's my website. Great. You can also go to thelight.nyc, which is my production company. And finally, safesetsmovie.org if you'd like to learn more about the film Safe Sets.
Woo-hoo. Love it. We will link all of those in the show notes.
And you can follow us on Instagram at @thelightIsLit.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Amazing.
I love that much. To end on, what would your ideal project or collaboration be? if you have one?
Mm.
You could be as specific or non-specific as you'd like.
I'd say my ideal project is a big budget project, and not just because of the money, but because of the impact. Like the way that we design our sets, like you can feel the difference on a set of 10 people, but you can really feel it on a set of 100 people. So it's mission aligned to have bigger projects. So I love those bigger projects. And I really love projects that are technically interesting and technically challenging. I'm going to be shooting something coming up for the Sphere in Vegas. I love that. Or things that we need to figure out, like, like it's a techno crane, or we did a steady cam, or, just figure things that are technical. And I also love things that are really meaningful. So impactful, 100%, creative, aligned, socially, politically, that are making a difference in the world, that we're using our skills as artists and as filmmakers and technicians to send a message that makes people's lives better, so that the actual product that we're making mirrors the experience that we're able to provide people on set, so that the experience is uplifting and then the spot that we're making is uplifting.
Heck yeah.
I love that so much. Thank you. What a perfect ending.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
We're going to call it all in for you. Call it all in and send all those positive vibes your way.
Let's shine a light and learn from those who are doing it well and reduce the missed opportunities for good.
We want to hear from you. Let us know. What campaigns are you seeing that are doing it well? Who would you like to see us interview? And what campaign would you like us to audit?
Thank you, our listeners and supporters, for joining us on our mission to revolutionize the industry that we love.
Missed Opportunities for Good is a production of Aligned for Impact and Love of Good.